Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Oliver, and I will be your host today from UK University Search. Welcome to our final webinar of this winter series. Today is everything related about choosing a course and choosing your university. For those who did miss out, yesterday we did have a session which was everything related to personal statements and the application process. But don't worry, that has all been recorded and you'll be able to find that on our website, which is studentstream.co.uk, but we can put some more information later on. Enough about that and moving on to our session. We are lucky enough to be joined by four universities today, where we'll be joined by Heriot University, University of East Anglia, Campus France, as well as the University of Wolverhampton, who are help going to tackle all these things about choosing a course and your university. Before we do start, I just want to let people know that this session is also being recorded. So I know there might be a possibility that some friends or possibly your parents aren't actually able to make this session, or maybe you might have to leave a little bit early and there's something that you missed out. This will be available on our website, as mentioned, studentstream.co.uk. But for all of those that are registered, don't worry, we will be emailing you a copy across as soon as it is ready to go. So to move on forward and give you a little bit more information about what this session, how it's actually going to be run, we're going to get a quick introduction by all of our panelists, telling us a little bit more about their institutions, where they're based and what they specialise in. And then after that, we've got different topic areas tackling everything about what is the best way of choosing your course in your university, as well as finishing with a Q&A. As you may notice, there is a Q&A button at the bottom. So any questions that you may have, whether it's related to a specific university, something about a specific course, or anything even generally about this webinar, please do fire away in the bottom. We've got lots of experts on hand to help answer everything that you've got. That's enough of me speaking now. I'm going to pass over to our first panelist of the day, where we'll be joined by Ailsa at Heriot University. So over to you, Ailsa.
I don't know why the camera has all of a sudden decided not to work, but I'm going to share my screen and hopefully we can see that. Um, so it's lovely to join everybody out. Hopefully I'll get the screen going. Can everybody see that?
All good, all good.
All right, super, because I've now gone completely blank. So after this, I'll rejoin the meeting and see if we can, if I can get my sound and vision back. So Heriot University are based in Edinburgh. We're actually 200 years old and we were founded to provide workers with the skills and knowledge that they needed to deal with the developing technologies of the time. And those links with industry continue through to the current day. We are a specialist institution. Our subjects are aligned with the needs of business and industry. Most of our courses have professional accreditations, and we have industry links that help to inform us and work with us to design our programs and make sure that they're providing graduates with the skills that they need. We also have campuses in Dubai and Malaysia. So we've got very strong international ties and a really diverse student population. And just flick through to our current courses. As you can see, they are very much aligned with providing students with the skills that they need for business and industry. So lots of engineering, lots of STEM, maths, computer sciences, business and management, and we also have design, which is offered at our campus in the Scottish borders. So we are a campus-based university. We're based just outside Edinburgh on the outskirts of the city. It's a beautiful campus with really outstanding facilities. Everything's in one space. We've got our accommodation, our student facilities, a student union, and we also have Oriam, which is Scotland's National Sports Performance Centre. So our sporting facilities are world class. And we're just 30 minutes by bus right into Edinburgh city centre. I mentioned previously we have a lot of opportunities for international study. You can study up to a year at our Dubai or Malaysia campus, and we also offer a huge range of opportunities to do a traditional exchange with partner universities as well. Overwhelmingly, our students find this a really positive thing to do, and we know it's appreciated and valued by employers as well. And graduate prospects, I think, is probably the key differentiator for Heriot Watt. We're really proud this year that in the latest graduate outcomes survey, Heriot Watt was ranked first in Scotland and joint second in the UK for graduate employability. So it's a fantastic achievement by our students, and we're really confident that we're helping our students to get where they need to go in their careers. But just very quickly, and to finish off, Edinburgh itself is a wonderful city to be a student in. It's quite compact, it's packed full of history, it's really beautiful. It's a massive tourist destination, but we also have 4 universities in the city. So it's really student friendly, and there's a huge amount of things to do, from social, sporting, cultural activities. We've got our world famous festivals, right through to part-time work, opportunities and internships as well. And just lastly, to finish off, Edinburgh is really well connected to the rest of the UK. We have excellent links by road, rail and air. Our campus is just 10 minutes from the airport, but 30 minutes or so from the city centre by bus as well. And one of the nice things about Scotland in general is that if you are under 22, you get free bus travel. So it's super easy to get around. And I'll finish off there. Thank you very much. Back to you, Oliver.
Thank you very much for that, Ailsa. And don't worry, I'm sure we'll be able to get your camera sorted shortly. So moving across now to our next panelist, where we'll be joined by Chantelle, and she is joining us from the University of East Anglia. So over to you, Chantelle.
Thank you very much. I'll just share my screen. So yeah, thank you very much. I'm Chantelle. I'm one of the higher education advisors at the University of East Anglia. And I'll just say that first of all, we do have a QR code on screen if you just want to get a bit more information about us. I'll also be sharing that again later. But East Anglia University is based in Norwich, and we're consistently voted as one of the best places to live in the UK. And I think that is because we're a really lovely city. It's mid-sized, there's lots to do, it's very historic, but there's also lots of green spaces near us. It's not far from the coast. It's only an hour and 45 to London as well, so we're very well connected. We're really pleased that we've been ranked 21st in the UK according to the Complete University Guide 2025. And we've got a very high employability rate, so it's 96.3. And we're a very friendly campus as well. So we're also a campus university, which is 15 minutes away from the city centre. And on that campus, we guarantee accommodation for first years if we are your firm choice. We've got over 250 different clubs and societies to get involved in, and we're very safe and supportive as well. We also offer study abroad and placement years for many of our courses, so there's lots of opportunities to make the course fit for you. So here's just a bird's eye view of our campus. So as you can see, it's very big, but it's very surrounded by lots of green space. As I said, we're only 15 minutes away from the city centre on the bus. Most of our accommodation is on campus, and you can get a variety of different options depending on how much you want to spend and how many people you want to share with. We've also got all of our teaching on campus, particularly in the centre where it says Lasden Wall. We have our own art gallery and museum, and if you're doing a relevant subject, you may indeed get taught there as well. We have our own concert venue and nightclub in the middle of our campus, as well as a massive sports park that's got nearly 60 sports that you can try. And if you're doing a healthcare course away, we're only 10 minutes away from Norfolk and Norwich University Hospital, which we partner with for lots of placements as well. So we would like to think that we're a very friendly and supportive campus, and it's got the best of both worlds. There's loads to do, but we're also really green. And the same with Norwich. It's very popular with our students. It's a bit of a cliche, but often when our students come and study with us, they don't then want to leave. It's really buzzy. There's lots to do from a student life perspective. Loads of sports, theatres, bars, shops, lots of cultural things to do, but it's not massive, so you won't get consumed by it too much. And we're the only city in England that is set in a national park, which is the Norfolk Broads as well. So there's lots of opportunity to make the most of the city life as well, but we're really close to the countryside as well. And it's a bit cheaper than living in London, but it isn't too far away either. As I mentioned, we've got opportunities for year abroad and placement years, which would normally be in your third year. So if you're studying abroad, many of our degrees include this option, and there are over 200 global partner universities at pretty much every continent but Antarctica. And if you want to do a year abroad or a semester abroad or even just a summer, that's very possible. Many of our subjects also do placement years as well, which is a year in industry, usually paid, and that can be local, national, or international as well. And it's just a really good way to get some more graduate experience before you've even got into the world of work. Finally, we do a variety of subjects from the arts and humanities, medicine and healthcare, science and social sciences. And the subjects on screen are just the broad areas. Within that, there's often a lot of joint honour courses as well. So we've got lots of things to choose from, loads of flexibility, particularly in our modules, and you can really shape the course to be how it suits you. But that's it from me to now. So back to you, Oliver.
Thank you very much, Chantelle, for that introduction about the University of East Anglia. So moving on now to our third panelist of the day, where we'll be joined by Nicolas, and he is joining us from Campus France. So over to you, Nicolas.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Nicolas. I'm not here to represent the university, so bear with me while I explain what I actually do. So I'm Nicolas. I work at the French Embassy in the UK, and I manage one specific service of this embassy called Campus France. Campus France UK is an information desk designed to assist British citizens and foreigners studying or working in the United Kingdom who are interested in pursuing studies and research opportunities in France. So technically, I represent all French universities and higher education institutions in the country. But a bit more about what we provide as a service. So Campus France UK, we provide information and guidance on various aspects of studying in France, like comprehensive details about French universities and research institutions. We provide step-by-step guidance on how to apply to French educational institutions. We provide resources for improving French language skills and information on available financial aid and opportunities. Finally, insight into living and working in France, obviously, and which is also very important for you, assistance with the necessary paperwork and visa requirements. So technically, we handle one platform that's called Études en France, which is a platform, online platform system designed to streamline the application process for international students seeking to study in France. So it serves as a centralized hub for managing all administrative procedures, from applying to French higher education institutions to submitting your visa. So whether you plan on doing a study placement, a work placement, an exchange in France, or take part in a course degree program or a French intensive program, you will have to come and go through us at some point. I'm going to stop there for the presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much for that introduction as well there, Nicolas. So moving on to our final panelist of the day, where we're joined by Munimur, and he is with us from the University of Wolverhampton. So over to you, Munimur.
Thank you there, Oliver, and good evening to everyone. I'll just share my slides. And Oliver, just double checking, is that fine?
We've not got anything just yet, but if we give it a second, it might pop up.
1 second. Just double checking again.
Perfect. All good.
Okay, so my name is Munimur Rahman. I'm from the University of Wolverhampton recruitment team, and the University of Wolverhampton is a Midlands-based university. So you could say we're pretty much in the middle of England-ish. We have 3 campuses, the main one in Wolverhampton city centre, followed by one in Warsaw, and then followed by one in Telford. The main one in the city, Wolverhampton, covers most of our courses, which I'll tell you about later on. The one in Telford is predominantly looking at engineering and those type of fields. And then the one in Warsaw is to do with sport, education, and nursing as well. So from the University of Wolverhampton, 90% of our graduates go into employment or further education after they graduate. And that's from a survey that was just done last year as well. And most of our students, because they like studying here, tend to do masters, and then some of them do further go into doing PhD and additional research. Some of the research that the University of Wolverhampton has been involved in, we are the first university in the UK to have researched the male contraception pill. Yes, I know, but that's one of our leading things that we are working on in research. And some of the other facilities about research, I'll be telling you a little bit later on. So our research, like I mentioned, is world-leading, groundbreaking, life-changing research, continuous research, with most of our academics either got professorships or doctorates in their subject. Some of them have worked in industry and then have come back into education to do further research on certain topics that are happening globally, nationally, locally, and that's what they are looking at. So the University of Wolverhampton, from the picture there, you can see that's from our Springfield campus based on our city, where students are doing games design and working with VR technology to look at certain games there. So that's what the picture is. But generally, we're the 5th overall in research culture. 93% of our research is recognized internationally, and we have 16 areas of world leading research. That is from the Research of Excellence Framework in 2021, and that number is still growing. So the University of Wolverhampton is one of those universities that invests a lot in you as a student. So in the next couple of slides, I'll be telling you about some of the facilities we have at the university and what it can offer you. So recently, we've spent 120 million on our Springfield campus, which really works on architecture, build environment, surveying, so those type of subjects. And that building is brand spanking brand new. We just recently opened last month our 1.6 million library refurbishment, which hosts over 250 computers. I can't really tell you how many books because there's a lot of books. And also there's different floors and more study space. We also have a SEN pod, so if people with difficulties or additional needs can go study in a SEN pod, and it can also help them study. Some of the other things that we have at the University of Wolverhampton is that we've spent 5 million on a screen school. This really helps because based on where we are in the city, we are literally opposite Wolverhampton Football Club. So those familiar with football would understand. And most of our students at the screen school do interact and work with some of the PR and the marketing team at the football club as well. And coming back to the research element, we spent 3 million on pharmaceutical facilities, and most of our pharmacy degrees are masters integrated. So you will do 4 years, get your masters, and graduate in pharmacy. And following on from the research earlier, 22 million has been spent on science facilities alone. So you could see from the University of Wolverhampton that there's a lot of money being spent on you as a student. We have 3 faculties. If you want to know more about those faculties, you can check out our website because it goes into quite some in-depth detail. But we have 3 faculties, and that covers most of our courses. And then again, more investment in healthcare. So you can see those are some of the nursing and some of the technologies that we do have at the university. So, and again, more in sport. Coming back to some of our courses, a lot of our courses are professional accredited courses. So you can see some of the professional bodies there that we do work with. And also we have industry links to name some of the big companies that we do work with. Those are some of those names you can see for yourself. And obviously there is much more. So that kind of gives you a background about the University of Wolverhampton and how much we invest in you as a student. I'll send it over back to Oliver.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Munimur. And thank you to all of our panelists for joining us today. Before we get on with the session, I just wanted to reiterate again and let everybody know that this session is being recorded and that we do have this Q&A function at the bottom. We are here to help you, and any questions you may have, please do fire it away. We'll do everything we can to answer them, whether that might be related to studying in France. You can speak to Nicolas, or something about Wolverhampton. Please do specify who the question is and who you want it to go towards. What we're going to do now in this next session is we're going to be looking at the different aspects of choosing a course and your university, and we'll have a little presentation from each of them. And at the end of that bit, we'll have a little Q&A at the end. So to start it off, we'll be joined again by Ailsa, and she's going to be telling us a little bit more about a campus university versus a city university. So over to you, Ailsa.
Thank you, Oliver. I'm going to just share my screen. The camera appears to not be working yet. Is that all right? Can you see the screen there?
All good, yeah.
Perfect, or almost perfect. So I'm going to talk today about choosing a university, and I've been asked to look at some of the differences between campus and city universities. But I think there's lots of things to consider when you are thinking about what type of university is right for you. I think first and foremost, subject and entry requirements are going to be one of the main things we'll be looking at. And there may be other factors, for example, the size of institution, whether it's a specialist course you're looking for, whether it's a modern or traditional university as well. So there's lots of other things to take into account. But location is going to be one of the key factors. And there's city universities that are based traditionally in city centre, and we have campus universities. For the purposes of this talk, really, I'm thinking about campus universities where everything is situated in one area, perhaps slightly out of town or near to a smaller town or city. But proximity to home and location is also going to be one of those key things, I think, that students are thinking about. And due to the cost of living crisis, affordability of student accommodation is certainly becoming more of an issue, and so that may also have an impact on your thoughts and where you're choosing to go. But city universities obviously offer that big city experience, and that's one of the key positive features. I think particularly for students who may be coming from a smaller town, the attraction of moving to a big city, the buzz, the variety of things to do, the access to a wide range of facilities are kind of key factors there. And the bigger the urban population, you certainly have more to choose from generally. And that includes things like your social opportunities and nightlife, but also might include things like access to businesses and part-time work opportunities and internships as well. So that's something to think about. Generally, big cities obviously are providing better, more reliable and more convenient public transport. And again, this is a key factor for students. How easy is it going to be to get to university, whether that's commuting on a day-to-day basis or, for trips back from home. So these are some of the positive features. Things that you might want to consider is that although a university might be city-based, it may not necessarily mean that all of its buildings are in one location. So do your investigations and have a think about travel times between lectures and different buildings in different parts of the city, for example, and proximity of student facilities. Likewise, student accommodation may not be on the doorstep of your academic buildings, particularly if it's a city centre based university. So that's something else to have a think about. Campus universities traditionally have everything in one area. So academic buildings, student facilities and accommodation are all in one location. And that is also their key positive feature, if you like. It's convenient, it's really easy to get to where you want to be. You can roll out of bed and get to your lectures in 5 minutes flat if you want to. But that kind of convenience and proximity has various other advantages. It can foster a really strong sort of research and collaborative opportunities between disciplines, but it also can foster a really strong and vibrant student community, particularly when everybody is all being drawn to one location. It provides opportunities to mix and get to know other people. Campus universities also typically a really pleasant environment for study. They're often parkland settings. You've got nice footpaths to get to wherever you need to be. You're not necessarily going to have roadworks or a building being demolished down the road when you're trying to study for exams. So that pleasant working environment can be really important to some people, and traditionally, campus universities are also really safe places to be. There's kind of safeguarding and security on site. It's kind of fairly secluded environment. It can be really safe and pleasant to be in. There's also research parks are often built in conjunction with campus universities. So that's something to look out for, whether there's those industry connections and collaborations with research on your doorstep. Some factors for you to consider are your transport links into local towns and cities. You may not want to be on campus all the time. If you're just thinking about your social life as well, you might want to expand that out. You might want to, go and hit the shops. How close is the nearest train station for getting back home? So these are factors for you to consider as well. There's lots more information out there about universities. One thing that I would encourage students to do is to try and get to open days or an applicant day once you've applied, so that you can really see for yourself what the university is like, whether you like it, whether you feel comfortable and at home there, and whether you can see yourself studying there. So that's probably one of the key things I would encourage people to do. Visit a university or a couple, if at all possible. But if you can't get to an open day, there may be other visit opportunities available, and there's certainly lots of information online and on webinars and on websites as well. And if you can, chat to some of the current students. You can do that either at an applicant day or open day, but also you can do that on UniBuddy, which is usually accessed from the university website or from UCAS. And that's it from me. Back to you, Oliver. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, Ailsa, and thank you very much for distinguishing the difference between a campus and a city university, and also summing up some of the pros and the cons as well. So moving on now, where we'll be joined by Chantelle again at the University of East Anglia, and she's going to be giving us a little bit more information about how much do league table rankings actually matter. So over to you, Chantelle.
Thank you very much. I'll just get my presentation up again. Yeah, so I'm going to be talking a bit about league tables. And first of all, I'll just say what league tables are. So they are one of the many tools that you can use when you're researching university. So league tables will rank universities both in terms of their reputation overall and in terms of individual subjects. And these can be really useful to kind of get a sense of how well reputed a university is, if it's particularly strong in your subject, what its worldwide or national or international reputation is. And it is one of only many tools that you can use, so as well as researching from open days, from webinars, from web pages, from things like What Uni and UK University Search, and all sorts of different things as well. So it's just one of many tools. And there are three main league tables to be aware of, and they are the Complete University Guide, the Guardian University Guide, and the Times Good University Guide. And these are the three that you'll probably see most often when you're looking at different universities. These renew annually, so the 2025 versions are just out. And each does the same thing in terms of ranking the universities, but they will all use different criteria and weighting to do so. For example, these three will all consider factors like student satisfaction, so that is how happy students are with their courses, graduate prospects, so whether students are in further study or in jobs 6 months after graduating, and how high the entry grades are. But the difference in what these universities prioritise may mean the tables look a little bit different between them. So I'm just going to give UEA as an example. So a university's overall ranking can differ from how individual subjects are ranked. So for example, we have been ranked 21st in the Complete University Guide 2025. But if you look at individual subjects, some will be much higher than this and some will be lower. So our paramedic science course is currently ranked 5th in the Complete University Guide. Our physiotherapy course is ranked 3rd, and our English literature and creative writing course is ranked 7th. But if you look overall, obviously our overall ranking is lower than this. And this is because we may have particular expertise in these subjects. There may be less universities doing these subjects, so the rankings are different and they have less competition. It may be that a department is particularly renowned. So for example, for us, creative writing is one of our specialties, so we have a higher ranking here. But also, if you look between the different league tables themselves, the rankings can be slightly different. So for the creative writing and English literature course, while it's 7th in the Complete University Guide, in the Times Good University Guide it's 6th, and in the Guardian Guide it's 9th. And I know there's obviously not a huge amount of difference between this particular example, but there may be guides where you find there is more of a difference as well. And that is just because they are prioritising these different things like student satisfaction and graduate outcomes as well. So you may find that you look at a league table overall and you've got some of the top ranked universities like Oxford or Cambridge or Durham or Imperial. And while they may be very highly ranked, they may not do so well for your subject, or they may not even offer your subject. So for example, they don't offer things like paramedic science and physiotherapy. So it might be all well and good to look at a ranking, but if it doesn't do your subject, it probably won't be best for you. So a highly ranked subject university may not offer your subject, or your subject may be ranked higher than the institution overall. So I would make sure when you're looking at league tables, look at the overall subject, but also put your subject and subject areas that you're interested in and see how they rank. League tables also don't tell the whole story, and they're only revealing an institution's past performance. So the league tables, as I said, update every year, and things at universities can change. So the academics can change, the modules on offer can change, the research can change, and that can affect where a university is positioned. So they are only one part of the story for how good a university is. They don't rank things like other that are also likely to be important in determining a course, like different modules on offer, what support you have, or how you assess. And obviously these are a lot more individual. So for you, you might find a university that have a lot more coursework elements better for you. And the league table won't show you this. And they also don't consider things like student life or location, which are equally, if not more important. So to summarize, I would say that rankings and league tables are a good pot of course to look at, but they're only one thing. Obviously, you want to find out if the university has a good reputation for your course, but you also want to see what opportunities you have. Can you do the modules you want to do? There is no point going to a highly ranked university if it doesn't let you do what you're going to university to study. Can you do a study abroad or placement year if that's something you want to do? And where is the university based? Is the location somewhere that fits for you? Do you feel like you belong there? These are all things you need to consider. So while ranking is definitely something to consider, I wouldn't get too caught up on it because it's such a personal process, and there are lots of things to consider as part of that as well. So that's it for me for now. I will stop sharing and then hand back to you, Oliver.
Brilliant. Thank you for that great advice, Chantelle. So moving across now, where we'll be joined by Nicolas at Campus France, and we're going to be moving more around the courses now, and he's going to give us a little bit more information on how to do course research and what to look for. So over to you, Nicolas.
Hi, hello. So yeah, in my presentation, I'm going to focus on how to assess the quality of a course, how to assess the quality of a program. I'm going to focus on general tips and tricks that can be applied, of course, to studying abroad, studying in France, but you can definitely also apply to choosing and assessing your own course here in the UK. So personally, I have a method, and this method is a method in 3 criteria. Some of those criteria have been covered before, so we're going to dive deeper into them. I'd say that if your preferred course at least fulfills 3 of those 5 criteria, you're good to go. And if they fill all 5, then wonderful, it's great, it's splendid. The first criteria, obviously, is the course content and the field of study. Here, some of you may already know what you would like to do when you access higher education, but some others might not know already or might still be on the edge about it. To tell you more about this criteria, I can also tell you a bit more by myself personally. So personally, after high school, I decided to pursue a law degree, which I absolutely despised. But then I switched to an history degree. This choice was made for one simple reason, is that in high school, I was way better at history than I was at any other subject. And even though I was personally afraid of going into history because of the job outcome, because of the employability criteria, of course, I still made that choice because I knew that whatever I was going to do, I was going to be good at it. And now, I've done a bachelor in history, which I used to access a master's in international relations with emphasis on project management. And now I work in an embassy in a foreign country, which is not something I totally expected at first. Second criteria, I'd say, is the course structure. I guess, you would naturally be attracted to an in-person full-time course type course, but nowadays the structure of courses evolve and change to adapt to the current job market or just the current world in general. So if you would prefer to do a fully online or part-time course, it's totally accessible. And for instance, if you'd like to do a program in France, you can also do it online through their own platform from the UK before actually taking that step and moving abroad. Third criteria, career prospects, is been covered by a few of my the other panelists here. I guess it's very important to also look into the course and specific course. I'd say industry links, because if you have industry links, the course has industry links, you have a lot of chances to be, recruited by that company or similar company after graduating. It's also a choice of whether or not you want to be working for one of those companies and whether or not you might feel constrained to work for one of those companies if you graduate. So it could be like a pro or a con. For location and facilities, location, we've covered it with campus and city universities, but I'd say facilities, depending on your topic. If it's something that needs a lot of machinery, a lot of space, you might look into universities that actually have those kinds of facilities. For instance, in southeastern France, there's the Université Aix-Marseille that is just massive. And just it's so massive that you have room to do pretty much any experiment, any research you want. And finally, reputation. I'm going to talk about rankings, not the exact same rankings as the presentation before, but that's for a minute from now. A couple of tools, something really practical. In the UK, you have accreditations, plenty of accreditations. The main ones are the TEF, the Teaching Excellence Framework, or the REF, the Research Excellence Framework. Those can tell you if the universities are, well recognized for their teaching or research activities, but accreditations for specific criteria. So depending on your own criteria, you can look into accredited schools that actually belong in a category of your choice. Of course, fairs and open days, applicant days, go in person, ask the students, the person working at the university. That's the best way. It's better than what you could do. You could find online. And if you'd like to study abroad here, actually you don't need to travel to France. We are based in London once again, and we provide webinars and in-person orientation and guidance counseling to help you kind of navigate that foreign ecosystem. And finally, surveys where students, like for instance, National Student Survey, where students can actually give you feedback on their specific program. And finally, rankings. I'm going to give you the perspective of rankings from an international perspective. Us in France and in the rest of the world, we mostly look at rankings that take into account all universities in the world. The main one is QS World Ranking. You also have Time Higher Education World Ranking, and you have the Shanghai Ranking. The QS World Ranking is great because you have subject ranking. So if you really want to find a university that's recognized by the whole world, it might be a good choice to also look into QS World Ranking. That's going to be all for me. Back to you, Oliver.
Thank you very much for that, Nicolas. And moving on finally, where we're joined by Munimur again. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about picking the right course for you if you're unsure what to study. So over to you, Munimur.
Thank you, Oliver. I'll just share my screen again. 1 second. Oliver, just doing a check if that's come up right.
All good, yeah, ready to go.
Okay, I'll just get back to the slides that we was on, because apparently it's just gone from the start. Okay, so picking a course, it's one of those challenging things. Doesn't matter if you're 18, starting university fresh, or you're a mature student coming back into education. It is one of those challenging things where you got to pick the right course that's good for you. Essentially, you will be in university for about 3 to 4 years, so it is very important to pick the right course. So I'm just going to go through a couple of aspects that would help you pick the right course and what you want to do. So when you choose a course, you have to understand that on average, most times you study is about 3,000 hours. Some courses you will be in 2 days a week. Some courses you will be in 3 days a week. However, if you do a healthcare course, like nursing, medicine, or other courses like those, you will be in for a longer period of time in the week. Also, most of the courses, if they're theory-based courses, will finish in May. And just going back to healthcare courses, they will run through the summer where you will be on placement. So these are some of the things you have to consider. Would you be able to balance that in your life, especially if you're a mature student? If you're not a mature student and you're starting new to university, are you ready for that commitment where you might be spending 4 days studying, 1 day on placement, and so forth? As I mentioned before, all universities will have different courses and different layout. So where we have one course, it might be different to another university. So do check around from what my previous colleagues have said, go to fairs and do compare some of the courses. One of the things to look at is what you do enjoy, because like I said, mentioned before, you will be there 3 to 4 years, and see if you need any relevant work experience and how this can fit with your career aspirations, which we will touch further on. When you do decide what course you want to do, it's not just degrees that are available. There's some courses with integrated masters, like our pharmacy course, some courses that are just bachelor degree, BA honors, BSc. So those are some of the most common honor degrees. And then you also got foundation year degrees and foundation years. There's also, I know someone mentioned in the chat about apprenticeships. Some universities will have degree or higher apprenticeships, but that is something you can ask the university if they do cater and what they cater it. It is also important to check what courses are you eligible for, because you might want to do a certain course, but do you have the right points, as that can help you decide. Like I mentioned before, do copy and contrast different universities, as all universities will have different entry requirements in terms of UCAS points, GCSEs to get onto a specific course. When you do consider looking for a course, just look at some of these questions I'll put on there. I won't read them all out, but some of them are some of the questions you should be asking. So when you do look at a course, ask, do they tick some of these boxes? When you do speak to people at the university, take these questions with you and see if they align with the course that you want to study. That will give you a better understanding on how to choose your course and if that is the right course for you. Going again from what my previous colleagues have mentioned, do check the modules, check some, because a lot of universities will give you optional modules as well as mandatory modules. See how it is assessed. Some courses will be exam based, some will be presentations, some will be assignments, some will be placements. It will be a mixture of everything. And as I always say, when you do pick a course, see if there's a sandwich year or a placement year available. Some of our links we do have nationally and internationally. So some of our paramedic students, they go over to Greece to do a bit of time there, a bit of paramedic stuff over there, and then they come back. So do look at these things, as it will help you also determine if that's the right course for you and are you getting the experience you need after you graduate. And then coming back to like a summary, is this course going to help you with your career afterwards? This is something we'll talk a bit later on. And do some of your courses need a postgraduate qualification? Do you need extra work experience? And is there volunteering available? Most degrees will tick these boxes, but do ask, because as some, like I'll give you an example, in the healthcare course, you can do a postgraduate in nursing. Do you need work experience? Yes, you do need work experience to get into nursing. And is there time for volunteering? Yes, there is, as you will be on placement. So that is an example of a course that ticks most of those boxes. So that's just me summarized, like how it can help you pick a course at the University of Wolverhampton or any other university. Hope some of the questions there have given you a good insight and like enable you to pick the right course for you. And I'll hand it back to Oliver now.
Thank you, Munimur, and I really think they did. And I want to say thank you again to all of the panelists for answering all of those topic areas. So we're moving into the final part of our session now, which is our Q&A. We've already got questions that we're about to ask our panelists, which are usually the most common questions that students ask related to this topic. However, this is your opportunity now to ask some questions in the bottom, anything that we've already spoke about across this session, or possibly things that you want to know, please do fire away and ask us in that Q&A session. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to pass over to Ailsa. And the first question that I have for you, Ailsa, is what is more important, the course or the university? I know it's a little bit of a subjective question.
Oh, I'm disappointed. I had my camera back and then Zoom is coming in and out. So I've disappeared off again, which is a shame. The question about what's more important, the course or university, is a really excellent one. And it's difficult. It's difficult for people to wrap their heads around. Personally, I think that your starting off point when you're deciding about your next steps is to think about your course and potentially where you think that might take you. So to that extent, you know, picking a course, a subject that you are really interested in, that you really enjoy doing, that you are good at, and you know you're going to perform well in, is kind of the starting off point for most students when they're kind of thinking about their next steps. The university is important as well because different universities offer different things. But what's going to be right for one person may not be right for the next. So I think deciding on your subject area and then looking at your options from there is a good starting point. Entry requirements, location are probably two of the key things that I mentioned before that are going to determine your choices. And then there's lots of different things that you might want to be taken into consideration. I mean, I think it's a case of making a list of what's important to you, what is on your checklist of essential things to have, maybe desirable things to have and not important. And then do your research and look at a variety of different university and different options and then shortlist from there before you firm up your decisions. So I'm afraid it's not really a clear-cut answer. I think there's lots to consider and I think ultimately it depends on the individual and what's right for them. I hope that answers the question, Oliver.
It really does. Thank you very much for that one, Ailsa. So moving across now to Chantelle at the University of East Anglia. And Chantelle, this is a question that we seem to get asked quite a lot, and that is, how do I know if I'll fit in at a particular university?
Yeah, and I think that's definitely one that I've had a lot and completely understand. I think the best thing to do is go to an open day if you're able to. That's the best way to kind of get a feel for the campus or the city or wherever it is you're going. Able to speak to a lot of people, both academic and current students, and ask them all sorts of questions. And there are no stupid questions at an open day. Ask them anything to do with the course, the social life, the accommodation, travel, all sorts of different things. I think an open day is a really good way to kind of get a sense of what it would actually be like, because watching webinars and doing virtual open days and doing things like that are really helpful and it'll give you a really good idea of what you can expect. But I don't think until you're actually on campus or the city or whatever it is, you actually get a feeling for what that place would be like and if you can see yourself there. And even if you go to an open day and you decide that, oh, this isn't for me, that is also really valuable because you've worked that out now rather than being at university. But I think when you're actually at university, there are so many different things that you can do to find your crowd of people, whether that's join a society. Lots of universities will have all sorts of societies, from theatre to cultural to food to religious to language to all sorts of different things. And often if you want to make your own society and it doesn't exist, you're able to do that with the student union as long as you've got a couple of people interested. Sports is a really good way to meet people as well. And you don't have to be good at a sport, you can try something. Often people will make friends just by going to beginner sessions and realizing that the sport might not be for them, but they've made loads of friends. But obviously, the sport may be for you, and you get to kind of go on different socials and play at different levels as well. And the same for things like music. Sometimes universities, and I know UEA does, have both audition and non-auditioned choirs and bands and things like that. So not only will you get to kind of indulge in a hobby that you may already have or you may be interested in, but you'll get to be part of kind of the social scene that society or club or sport thing has, whether that is coffee or food or drinks or whatever that may be. And also just remember that the universities always want to help you. So if you are feeling you're struggling to kind of make friends or fit in, which is very unlikely because most people have a great time, there are different kind of well-being providers that can help you. So for example, at UEA, if you're finding that you're not sure you fit in your accommodation, you can get moved. You can go to the accommodation residential support team and say, I want to be somewhere a bit quieter or with more people or whatever it may be. And often you'll be able to get moved there as well. So I would say that the majority of students will get to university and feel that they do fit in. But the best way you can kind of get a sense of whether that will be for you is to go to do some open days, and particularly do your research around the open days and get speaking to potential students who are in the same boat as you and also current students as well. I hope that answered the question.
That was brilliant. Thank you very much for answering that question, Chantelle. So moving over now to Nicolas, where this one's more specific to Campus France. And Nicolas, what are the differences between studying in France compared to England?
So firstly, before answering that question, I think it's important to just state what's not different between studying in France and in the UK. First, I'd say that whether in France or in the UK, both university systems are equally well regarded, reputable, research oriented, so very well known and respected. Also, the system of diplomas is quite the same. So if you get your A-levels, you can access a bachelor in France. If you get a bachelor in the UK, you can access a master in France, and also the other way around. So with that in mind, I'd say that the main differences between studying in France and studying in the UK, firstly, is the cost of the studies. I mean, in the UK, just for reference, 1 year of undergraduate studies is about £9,500, while in France, in the public system, which is the most well-known and reputable system, it's so for UK students, so for you, if you have a UK citizenship or non-EU citizenship, so Indian, Chinese, it doesn't really matter. Your tuition fee for 1 year of undergraduate study is £2,300. However, if you have a US citizenship, EU citizenship, sorry, like French or Irish, for instance, actually the price of studying in France drops to £145. Because in France, higher education, whether you're French or not, the cost of your studies is covered by the state and by the taxpayers. Additionally, I'd say like also the class system is kind of the same. I'd say you maybe have more in-class hours in France, but usually it's now it's kind of on par with the UK system, maybe a bit less interactive. But in France, we put a lot of emphasis on gaining a lot of knowledge, and usually you can really find work after graduating from your masters. So students in France usually study for 5 full years instead of just 3. But when you enter the work market, you're actually more prepared, and you are more you have a lot more knowledge in your head, I'd say. And yeah, I guess those are the main differences. So it's not really that substantial. Whether you choose to study in France or the UK, it will be like a right choice for you. Once again, if it's the right program or the right university, you can study in English in France. I didn't mention that, but you can also like do the same, but in France, full in English. So yeah, I guess those are the main differences.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Nicolas. And some of those differences actually surprised me quite a lot, actually. So thank you for that. So moving on to our final question of the day, where we're joined by Munimur, again from the University of Wolverhampton. And the final question that I have for you is, should I study with my career prospects in mind?
That's a very, very good question, Oliver. There, most people at 18, there's two ways that we've seen students go. One, they already know their career in mind. So I'll give you an example. They want to become a pharmacist, so they work backwards, thinking, okay, I want to become a pharmacist. I need to do pharmacy at uni, and then I need to get my science A levels. So they already have a career prospect in mind. Some students, on the other hand, will not have a career prospect in mind, and they will study a course that they enjoy. So most people will go into creative writing, history, business, marketing, those certain areas, because they enjoy those subjects during their study, during their previous study. So they want to do more study into it and enhance their knowledge as well. Whether or not that degree leads them into their career, it's totally up to them, because they might come into their third year, be like, I've enjoyed studying it, however, I don't see a career in this. Or they might study and be like, you know what, I could actually turn this into a career. So it is one of those tricky questions there, Oliver. Do you have to have a career in mind? In a nutshell, I would say no. But if you do have a career in mind, it gives you that pathway, so you know what you have to study and where you have to go. And best thing to do, like I'll probably parrot what some of our colleagues have said, do attend an open day and speak to colleagues, speak to lecturers, academics, and see the journey that they've gone through, and that will open your eyes even more. I hope that answers that question, Oliver.
It really does. Thank you very much for that answer. It's quite a tough one, and I think with this whole sort of subject area, it is quite a tough one. But what we've learned from this session, and I hope that everybody has gathered, is we are all in it together. There isn't one right answer, but hopefully we have given you all of the little bits to make that decision a little bit easier. Whether that's about a specific course or a university, we've given you all the information, hopefully, to narrow down what might work best for you. Like I said, guys, please don't panic. This is something that everybody has to go through together, and it's such an exciting time of your life, so please don't rush it. Everybody that has been on here today with us is an expert, and if you do have any further questions, please do reach out to these individual universities or institutions like Nicolas at Campus France, going through their student recruitment team, their admissions team. Everybody is here to make this process so much easier for you. That has come to the end of this session, and I want to say a massive thank you to all of our participants today. So Ailsa at Heriot Watt, Chantelle at University of East Anglia, Nicolas at Campus France, as well as Munimur at the University of Wolverhampton. You've all been absolutely amazing help. Just to reiterate that this session has been recorded, so if there were little snippets that you want to look back at, maybe show some friends or even show your parents at a later date, this will be available and sent to you in the next few days, possibly early into next week. If you were not registered for this session, it will also be available on our website, studentstream.co.uk. Again, guys, massive thank you to you all. Good luck with your next endeavours, and hopefully we will see you all again soon. Cheers now. Bye bye.